Welcome to the Collective Current, a transmission for the leaders of the new consciousness. This is a space where I will map the patterns that are moving through the collective and help you to navigate the waters that we are currently swimming in. So we are in March 2026. We have just begun the year of the fire horse, coming from the year of the snake, a year 9 into a year 1. And 9 was transformation, 1 is number 1, singularity, coming back to the ground, 0 point, starting again from fresh beginnings. And what I'm really feeling the theme of this month is, and what I'm really mapping and noticing in the field, is this is a time for the true self to rise. There is a calling so deep inside right now that cannot be ignored. If you are feeling right in the point of the intersection point between the vertical and the horizontal, this choice point where you can see the old self, you can see the old conditioning, you can see the fear-based old reality that you used to live through, you can see the old avoidance mechanisms, all of the old patterning that you used to live through. And you can also see the new self. You're able to touch off of and taste and feel the undercurrent that is playing that is true. The current that is really you, the frequency of you that is playing underneath the noise of the conditioned self. We are in this intersection of choice. Right in the 0 point, in the middle, in the center, where you will find yourself with the ability to now consciously choose your actions. And in order to be in this point, in order to consciously choose, you must take time in this moment where you recognize the old stuff that is rising, that wants to die, and the new version that wants to play. You will create space to listen a little deeper, to listen to what is the feeling that's agitating you, what is the feeling that is irritating you, what is the feeling that is trying to destruct and destabilize the new you, because this new version of you is stable. This new current version of you is true. It is playing, it is eternal, it is everlasting, it is not going anywhere. And you can see it now, you can taste it now, you can touch it now, you know it now. You have a felt sense of what it is now. You cannot ignore it. We are in a point where the pain of ignoring your purpose is growing stronger and greater than the pain of the fear of the past, than the illusions of the past that you used to live through. The pain of the story is dissolving. History, it's gone. The new you wants to rise. This is a rising of the phoenix energy. And even though we are in this like horsepower, horse fire year, we're really beginning to recognize that actually it's not about being hot out of the gates, because the old version, the immature version, the version that moved from urgency, the version that was running away from pain, this version is no longer in control. So in order to actually move in alignment with the new you, you have to slow down. This is about becoming steady and stable. This is about stabilizing the new you. This is about increasing your bandwidth to be with it all in love. Becoming wider, becoming bigger, becoming more present, to be able to feel that choice point, because you recognize that you're moving from subconscious fear-based programs into superconscious choice, and that you have choice, and that your freedom comes from when you actually choose to commit fully to the you that you know that is playing under the noise, to the current that is always true, to the version of you that never leaves, the frequency, the true frequency of who you really are in the center point of view. That's the one that is calling you forward. That's the one that is rising from the ashes. That's the one that is peeling up from the collapse of the old. And now some of the old is still collapsing. So this point that I'm talking about, where you're almost witnessing a bipolar version of you that's existing, split personality, a person who identifies still a little bit with the story of the old you, the pained you, the victim you, the unconscious you. She's getting a little bit quieter, or he's getting a little bit quieter. The new you is now playing a little bit louder. And in order to be able to make this choice, you must slow down. You must want responsibility for your life. And this is moving away from rebelling against some outside force, some idea that you can be controlled by the outside. You're coming back into the command of your own consciousness. You're coming back into freedom through no escape. Freedom through no escape, what does that mean? You're not escaping the old you. You're no longer running from the shadows. You're welcoming them. You're welcoming that identity that you built yourself to protect yourself through. You're welcoming to look at that. You're welcoming to allow it to dissolve. You're welcoming the new to birth through that. You're not rejecting any part of you. You're not abandoning or running from any part of you. You're welcoming it all. You have more bandwidth to be with it all than ever, and you have more bandwidth to love. There's a love and a purpose that is rising through you right now that cannot be ignored. This is the call, the longing of the soul to live who you really are in your essence, to truly break free of the conditions that you took upon yourself to be you that were never true. You are rising now from the ashes through the noise of all of those conditions, breaking free from that matrix mind, that trap that you perfectly built for yourself to contain yourself in a reality that was never you. You're breaking free. True freedom is when you don't escape yourself, you don't escape the shadows, you welcome them, you embrace them, and then you alchemize them. You work and you allow that energy and that emotion to move through you. In your power, you become wider. You hold bandwidth to be with it all in love. And that includes slowing down in reactivity. You're no longer reacting, you're responding consciously. You're taking time, you're taking a breath. You're noticing the part of you in urgency that wants to self-protect, that wants to burn the bridges, that wants to push people away. You're noticing that part, and then you're slowing down and taking time to feel what is the conscious aligned action from this point. What would be the version of me that knows that that person is part of me and I'm alchemizing this as a shadow? What would that person do? Is there a conscious expression to create connection, or maybe possibly an expression to create a boundary? But it doesn't come from a place of reactivity. It comes from a place of stability, a place of inner knowing of what is right for you, what feels honorable and respectful, what is conscious communication, what is love. The frequency of love wants to play through you now in a wider way. This is the death of self-abandonment and the death of people-pleasing. You will no longer be able to please somebody in spite of yourself. You will no longer be able to listen to somebody outside of you instead of yourself. There is a truth, a current of truth that is rising inside of you that you will be able to hear when you take that time to slow down and you build the scaffolding. This is a month of scaffolding, stabilization. You're going to stabilize your inner system. You're going to stabilize your nervous system. You're going to slow down to take time to feel every single step that you are making and what place it comes from. Is this in alignment with the me that I know that I am? This is a time where you're checking in. If you've learned a lot and you know a lot on a conscious level, but you don't feel like you're living the teachings, you don't feel like you're living what you know to be true, this is a time to check yourself and to come into alignment and to be courageous and take empowered action, to come into alignment and to live powerfully who you know you are, to rebuild that trust that you've broken inside of yourself through not listening, through ignoring, the pain of ignorance, of not listening to your inner truth. You need to work to rebuild that trust, that you take aligned action based on your well-being, based on the wholeness of who you are, based on the power and the truth of who you really are. So this center point, this decision point is your choice point that you need to zone into and widen and expand into, breathe into it. When you're faced with something challenging, when you're feeling the discomfort of the old you that's dying because it's very uncomfortable, it feels very destabilizing because this structure that we've built, that we've held ourselves in, this false conditioned self, that has been a safety mechanism for a very long time. It is literally the foundations, the programming, the foundations of what you actually were. So that's collapsing. The false reality that you built is collapsing. So we have to put in new stability, new structure, new foundations, and new scaffolding to help you build a crystalline, conscious version of you. And that takes time to feel. What is that version of me? How does that version of me look and show up? And it's the opposite of rebelling against something outside of you. It is owning and fully claiming responsibility for all that you are and all of your actions. It is the version of you that wants to show up, the version of you that cares more about the mission. The pain of not living the mission is stronger than the pain of the past. The version of you that cares more about your mission wants to rise, and you need proper scaffolding to support that. What does that scaffolding look like? Well, if you imagine when you're in rebelling and you're rebelling against and you're trying to prove and you're pushing and you're forcing, the opposite of that would be actually giving yourself a container, so containment, allowing yourself to have actual boundaries that support your well-being. So that includes how much time you might spend working. So we're beyond the immature version of ourselves that would show up and just work and work and work and work and work and not listen to the need to rest. We are beyond ignoring ourselves. We are beyond railroading ourselves. We are beyond bulldozing ourselves. We are listening to our well-being. And that includes stop points. So giving yourself a container of I start and I stop. Basic stuff, really allowing yourself from the foundations up of examining how you behave in every scenario. I'll give you an example, even if you're training, for example. You're no longer just pushing to try and do the most that you can. You're no longer trying to perform. You're no longer seeking to prove. You are being very methodical. You are being very conscious about your energy. You are being very purposeful about why you're moving your body. You are doing it for longevity, for well-being, for whole being, to support your energy, to support your service, to support your purpose, to make your vessel strong in order to be powerfully able to show up and serve. So you're no longer then trying to perform and get the most and extract the most out of every single session. You are giving yourself a bedtime. This is the adult that's coming in. We are in the death of immaturity. We are actually saying, okay, what actually supports me is having a time that I get up, having a time that I move my body, having a time that I do my work, and having an end point, having fixed points of rest, really taking time to deeply listen to your needs. And this space, in this choice point where we're slowing down, and it really takes a lot of slowing down, a lot more than we would like, because we have an urgency around our mission. If you're here as a soul awakening in this time to their mission of higher service and purpose and why you came here, you're going to have a sense of the current of urgency that kind of pushes you forward. And we don't want to listen to urgency. We want to listen to the importance of it, but not to move from urgency. We want to move from a stable place, a place that we can trust that we're not going to burn ourselves out from. So when I go back to the year of the fire horse, we think we're going to burn ourselves out from that energy. We better slow down, because it's a big energy. It's a strong energy. It is coming in hot. It is coming in with no apologies. It's coming in with no excuses. It's coming in powerfully and potently, but it's also coming in with presence. It's coming in with care. It's coming in with love. It's coming in with real power to stay, bandwidth to stay in it a little bit longer. And that includes when you find yourself in an uncomfortable condition, in a version of the old you that's rising to die, that you learn to stay in that a little bit longer. You don't abandon yourself there. You don't abandon ship. You don't go into avoidance, distraction, scrolling, eating, soothing. You stay in it. You have the maturity and the bandwidth to choose to stay with it a little bit longer. And just a little bit longer creates enough space, enough breath, enough bandwidth to allow it to change. Just seeing it and spending time with the discomfort of the feeling of whatever it is gives it time to transform, but we have to learn how to be with it. And in those choice points and in those moments, that's where everything can shift. So this month is a month of stabilizing yourself, really becoming stable in that center point to powerfully choose and show up and allow the rising of who you are to come forward. Allow your maturity to be born. Allow the essence of your soul, but unfiltered. You don't have to show up perfect. This is just about showing up. What does that look like? Showing up for yourself, number one, step by step, day by day, just taking some aligned action, some purposeful action. You don't have to do it all at once. You know, when you have awakened to a big mission here, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. It can feel like you want to collapse under the weight of the pressure. This is about alleviating pressure. This is about, like I said, containment, that you don't try and eat the whole cake at once. You don't try and build Rome in a day. You do brick by brick, step by step. So taking your time this month to really just take small actions. If big actions feel like they're destabilizing you and they're collapsing you, just take small baby steps. Just set yourself one thing to do and do that and do it well. And don't worry about perfection and don't worry about finishing things. You're not rushing to a finish line. This is the slow and steady wins the race. And this is really a witnessing of the dissolving of the false self, a rising of the true self, the version of you that you cannot escape. There is no escape in this reality. There is full commitment. And through full commitment to this version of you, you are free. You get freedom from commitment. This is the maturity of the soul. This is the maturity of the next level human. When you realize that fully committing, going all in on who you really are, is your freedom. And you powerfully believe in that. You powerfully feel that. You powerfully know that. And even without evidence, you are learning to walk that path because you need to build the trust inside of you, the trust in your own hands, the trust that you are in the hands of the divine, the trust in life, that you are able to stand up in who you are and take that aligned action. And we only build that trust, we only heal that trust inside of ourselves through taking that action. And that gateway and that pathway to self-trust, that is self-love. Showing up for you because you love who you are, because you care about your mission, because you're here to birth consciousness, you're here to help humanity awaken to their purpose, their brilliance, their brightness, their miracle state. You are here to really help and align with your highest self from that point of choice, that point of stability, that point of maturity, and you know it. And nothing else is more important than you choosing that. So this is the dissolving of avoidance, dissolving of destructive behaviors, the taking the reins of the horse, really powerfully showing up and saying, I am the one that's going to be responsible. And previously we've been collapsing under the pressure of the mission. We've been collapsing because we haven't been ready to rise. And we are not going to be allowed to take misaligned action in this time. There's not going to be any part of you that's going to be able to step against yourself. There's going to be a truth so strong in your body that you will not be able to go against it. This is what's building right now. And that level of truth and trust in yourself is only built through deep listening to your feelings. So you taking your time to slow down and truly feel before you immaturely, prematurely go down one pathway too far. You take your time to feel the essence, you feel the invitation, you feel the space that that creation is coming from, you feel the space that that movement is coming from. This gives you sovereignty to really truly choose your path, to not be manipulated and not be convinced or controlled by anything outside of you. And in a world right now that is falling apart, there's illusions surfacing, there's a lot of shadows rising to the surface, there's a lot going on in the collective where we're losing trust in leadership. This is a time for you to build an inner leadership, to build a sovereignty, that you fully trust and know who you are, and that you learn how to move in that collective field of consciousness, to move in unity, in benevolence for the good of the all, based on your truth, based on checking your consciousness, based on exploring and examining the space that is driving you, the space that you're coming from. And you're always checking the sincerity of the space of your intention. Why am I doing this? Why would I make a movement? Taking responsibility for your actions and not allowing any of the shadows to play. And this is not about denial of the shadows. This is not about false positivity. This is about fully facing and owning all of you, fully facing and seeing and examining and exploring the subconscious programs that were driving you, because you can see them now as a seer, as a person who's able to map and feel the movements of the collective. You can see and feel what is driving you now. So if you want to be responsible, if you want to live your best life, if you want to live to your fullest, it's time to slow down and feel and listen deeply to that inner calling of the soul. So what does this look and feel like? You may feel a little bit sick of your old self. That old self no longer has power. The new you has the power. The new you is rising, and the new you wants to show up in a more powerful way. So there will be a feeling and a desire that is pulling you forward. There will be a collapsing of the old. The fear-based programs are collapsing. You will feel a little bit like you're in between two different identities, the false self and the true self. You will be able to see both. You will feel a little bit bipolar maybe, a little bit confused, but you're not confused. You're just witnessing the death of the old. So allowing space and time for that old version of you to die. And this is a real call and a real invitation to be with the discomfort, to allow yourself to be in the discomfort of those patterns changing and dying, and to really consciously choose to change through aligned action. So really creating that space to listen. You know, you've burnt the bridges, there's no going back. You can see the old self, but you've lit the match. It's torched. That version of you is gone. There's no space anymore to live out of alignment. And you will be shown, if you do try and live out of alignment, or if you do try and avoid, or if you do try and hide, that your reality will collapse. Because if you have chosen sincerely to show up and serve your higher purpose, if you have truly, from a sincere space inside of you, surrendered to your divine will, surrendered to the will of your soul and who you truly are and why you came here, the field will rearrange itself through divine intervention around that choice. So when you make that choice, be prepared for everything around you to collapse that is out of alignment. Relationships, health, job, whatever it is, you name it. The old structures that are not in alignment with who you really are and why you're here will collapse this year, especially this month. You pay attention to moving in alignment, because when we move in alignment and we listen deeply, we don't have to have divine intervention. Although I will say sometimes we need the initiation of it. There's nothing wrong with it. It really propels us powerfully and actually helps catch us up to speed, helps our reality to shift quickly. It can be very destabilizing, but also very liberating to have divine intervention happen. I had it myself last year with my health. I lost my health and recovered it and completely rearranged my life around well-being because of it and around my soul's purpose and fully surrendering to my divine will. So I've lived that divine intervention, and although it was incredibly challenging, it was the biggest blessing, and the biggest, I could not have arranged something bigger to change my life more powerfully than that intervention. So if that does happen to you, just hold on and allow the realignment to happen. You are supported now to create a new structure inside of you to allow that process, more bandwidth inside of you to be with it all, and more self-care, more compassion, more presence, more love to allow the new you to surface through that. And yeah, it doesn't come easy, I will say. Rising in your full truth and your full power involves you really letting go and dissolving of any fear of rejection, any fear of judgment, any shame, any guilt, any blame. These lower densities have no grip on you anymore. They are dissolving. You are letting them all go. You are watching the noise of the old just disintegrate as you powerfully rise and show up for yourself fully. And that showing up for you, that is embodied love. That is what is calling you home to you. That is your purpose now, to actually prove to yourself that you do love yourself through embodied, aligned action, through powerfully, step by step, showing that your actions are an action of self-love, of self-care, of really caring about you, about your purpose, about what is in your center, what is in the seed inside of your heart, what is in the bottom of your heart that you truly care about in this life, because everyone has a unique seed. Everyone has a unique mission. Even though some people are same but different, there's a unique essence of who you are that wants to rise. There is only one of you. There is only one of you that can be here in this embodiment, in this reincarnation or this incarnation of who you are now. What is the essence that wants to come through you? That is being called forward to be listened to right now. So can you allow the space to truly create the scaffolding and the solid foundations and listen to your nervous system? Take the time to feel that choice point between the old and the new and powerfully prove to yourself and rebuild that trust in yourself, which creates love inside of you to actually show yourself that you are loving you, you are caring about you, you are showing up through your action. This is where your greatest freedom and your greatest fulfillment exists from. This entry point, this decision point, this 0 point field, this collapse into nothingness, this dissolving of the old, this space into the unknown to become, to allow who you really are to surface, to free your soul, to free who you really are, to free your voice, to free your expression, to free your aliveness, your embodiment, with full responsibility and ownership over your actions. That you take full ownership of how you show up in life and how you act. You take time so that you're not in reaction and that you are powerfully acting, not performing. You are powerfully responding to situations. You are powerfully responding with consciousness and with bandwidth and stability inside your nervous system to be able to deal with challenge, to be able to deal with shadows, to be able to deal powerfully with the heart, through the heart, with things that are challenging for you. Rising through love, and love is strong, love is stable, love is quiet, love listens, love is present. So gently and powerfully allow yourself to witness the old you dissolving, the programs and the conditions of the control of the mind matrix, the external powers that we think that control us. All of that is dissolving so that you create space and you allow space to listen to the real you, to the true you, to the essence of who you are, and you step by step show up powerfully and allow that version of you to be. You allow that version of you to come into form through your aligned action, day by day, step by step, breath by breath. No overwhelm, no distracting, no needing, no pressure, no needing to get anywhere. Just stability, just structure, containment, boundaries with yourself, not burning yourself out, taking care of your well-being, your whole being, coming back to your center and powerfully showing up in alignment with your divine self.